Our next speaker is somebody that many of you know well because he's one of our home state people. And I have this bio here, but I actually have a story that I am sure he doesn't even know about. When I first moved into a house in Fayetteville from the Washington, D.C. area, we had just come from, I'd been a Marine Corps wife for 6 years, and we had lived in at least 6 different residences. And moving around a lot, you're pretty shy about strangers, and you're a little guarded about your next community until you get to know people. Well, this next person actually was the first person in my neighborhood to greet me, and he probably doesn't remember it, but I'll just never forget this young boy who came to my door and said, "Welcome to the neighborhood." And I looked at him and I thought, wow, where have I landed? This is just amazing that this kid would come to my door and welcome me to the neighborhood. Our next speaker is somebody who has played on a lot of basketball courts, and he's somebody that we've watched in college and we've watched in the pros. Off the court, Ronnie Brewer Jr. has made an even bigger impact. He has done so many things philanthropically, and one of the things that he's done is really build a sense of community. And I think about that, and I think about that young man who first started. He was building community back when he was in, I think you may have been in first or second grade. That's how young you were when you came to my door on Eaton Street in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And today he continues to build community, and this morning I'd like to welcome him to talk about how that has impacted him as a human being. So Ronnie Brewer, we welcome you to the stage. Please welcome Ronnie Brewer Jr.
Raise this up a little bit. Good morning. That's funny. She said that Eaton Street was actually the first house that my family moved to when we moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas. If you know a little bit about me, if you don't, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Portland, Oregon. My dad played in the NBA. He played for the Portland Trail Blazers. So I was born in Portland. If you ask me, I do give that fact that I was born in Portland, Oregon. But if you say where I'm from Fayetteville, Arkansas. So I moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas in 1990 with my family. One of the first things that when we got into Fayetteville, meeting with different people in the community was I'm the youngest of 5 kids, 2 older brothers, 2 older sisters, very, very competitive. For mother, if y'all have kids, 3 boys were very, very hyper, very, very active, trying to figure out a way to get us out the house. So it was recommended to us to get involved in the local community. So we asked around, what is something that we can get involved in? On Eaton Street, if y'all are familiar with Fayetteville, it sits right in front of Butterfield Elementary. I went to Butterfield Elementary, I went to Woodland Junior High, Fayetteville High School, and then the University of Arkansas. But one of the first things that they told me and told my family when we moved to Fayetteville, Arkansas, was if you wanted to be involved in the community, you should try to check out the Boys and Girls Club. So we went to the Boys and Girls Club. To me, it's one of the things that changed my life and made a huge impact on my life because I was able to meet a lot of mentors there. They advised us to get involved in programs at the Boys and Girls Club, but as well as programs at the public school system in Fayetteville. So I met a lot of mentors at the Boys and Girls Club. I've got lifelong friends that I met at the Boys and Girls Club. Coaches, advisors. To me, if you ever been to the Fayetteville Boys and Girls Club, it might be one of the best in the state. It's very, very nice. It's, to me, maybe one of the best ones in the country. But growing up as a kid, it was a white gym, a green gym. It was an art room, swimming pool. It's where I learned how to swim, learned how to play pool, learned how to do art, and of course, learned to play basketball. Having that experience throughout my life, it's something I would never forget. Fast forward, as I'm growing and playing basketball, I practiced a little bit, became kind of good at basketball, or I thought I was decent. If you ask my daughter, I'm not a LeBron James or Steph Curry, so hurts my feelings a little bit, but I love her to death. But I wanted to follow my dad's footsteps and attend the University of Arkansas. So for me to get to that level to work, to be good enough to be at the University of Arkansas, I had a lot of teachers throughout the way to mentor me and say, hey, Ronnie, you can't just be a good basketball player. You have to work just as hard in the classroom as you do on the basketball court. And that really stuck to me really, really tough because, as you can see, I'm kind of tall. When I was in high school, I was very, very skinny, very, very skinny, big ears, very awkward, and I could write really, really well. So I had two English teachers, Miss Reeves and Miss Poland, and say, hey, Ronnie, you've got to be the change you want to see in the world. You got to be able to, I'm a very shy person also. If being in front of a room speaking, if you would have told me that 20 years ago, I would have laughed and been like, there's no way I would talk in front of a room or in front of teachers, administrators, for sure not. But they stayed on me really, really tough, pushed me. And if there's any English teachers in here or professors, I apologize. But I really could write really well. But I used to always say, man, I do not want to be an English teacher. That's so boring. And sorry if there is anyone. But Miss Reeves and Miss Poland were my English teachers. And they were like, hey, you write really well. That's something you might want to major in at the University of Arkansas. You worked really hard to get here. You worked on your basketball skill. You worked hard in the classroom. You have the opportunity to get a scholarship. Maybe you should focus in on being an English teacher. And no disrespect, I was like, it's not something I really want to do, man. That's kind of boring. You're going to write a lot of papers. But I took a visit to the University of Arkansas. I looked in the business school. I don't know if any of y'all have been up there and toured the Walton School. It's pretty dang tough. It's a lot of math. I'm not that great at math. I also didn't want to be an English teacher, but I ended up deciding to focus on journalism. The reason being is there was, when you're taking your tour, they say, hey, what do you want to focus in? I don't really know. I'm 18 years old, 17 years old. My English teachers went with me and tried to convince me, hey, that's actually a cool thing to possibly do. And I was like, not something cool to write English papers all day and stuff like that. So I ended up being a journalism major. Reason B is I wanted to be able to diversify and do multiple things. I wanted to be able to do stuff on the radio. I wanted to be able to produce different TV shows, report on different sports or news. I wanted to be able to write in magazines. I wanted to be able to write in the newspaper. So those two teachers really influenced me to be and go down that direction, to be that major, because, back then if it would have been like, hey, fast forward a couple of years, I now have my own radio show. We also put out different things on different platforms, covering multiple sports. I teach now at Fayetteville High School, oral communications, which I would have never thought I would have said, hey, I'm going to be a teacher. But that's something that they really influenced in my life. Some of my professors there, Dr. Foley, Professor Jordan, had Miss Lisa Sane, Dr. Jason Williamson. Those two are my academic advisors. Those people really pushed me really hard academically. And I don't know if y'all have heard of Dr. Morgan. He's one of the first African-American professors to work at the University of Arkansas. And one of the funny stories that he tells people, and I like to tell people, is my advisors told me you always have to sit in the first 2 rows of class to make a difference. Show the professor, show the teacher that you're trying to pay attention and that you're trying to do your work. And you want to buy in, you want to lock in, and you want to show, hey, I'm not just here trying to get a grade. Well, Dr. Morgan, every day, like I said, I'm not saying I was the best basketball player, but I was decent in college. I wouldn't just, chop liver. I was okay. I thought I was playing well. Well, every day, Dr. Morgan would come in, and I'd sit in my first seat. He'd look at me, shake his head. I'm like, Dr. Morgan, I just had 20 points and 8 rebounds and 7 assists. What more can you do? Mr. Brewer, I think you're wasting your talents. What do you mean, Dr. Morgan? With your hand-eye coordination, I think you're selling yourself short. I think you should drop basketball, quit basketball, and try to be a heart surgeon. I think your hand-eye coordination would make you be a heart surgeon. Dr. Morgan, I don't think I'm gonna be a heart surgeon. And it got back to my academic advisor at the time. Our head coach was Stan Heath, and he came to class with me one day and was like, "Hey, Dr. Morgan, I need you to stop telling that to the class and stop telling that to Ronnie because we need Ronnie on this basketball court to get us some wins." So Dr. Morgan was a huge influence in my life, and I love to tell that story because he's a really good professor and really molded me. But back to really what I want to go up to talk about is the Ronnie Brewer Foundation. I'm being from Fayetteville. I'm very prideful. To me, that's home. I'm very prideful about the Arkansas Razorbacks. Very prideful about Fayetteville High School. And in 2006, I was able to get drafted by the Utah Jazz, 14th pick. After having a 3-year career at Arkansas, I promised my mom, if you allowed me to go to the NBA, I promised I would come back and finish college. Everybody was actually laughing, oh, you're not really going to come back to school. You're going to be making millions of dollars. I was like, no. If you know my mom, I'm going to come back and finish school because she's going to embarrass me in front of everybody multiple times. So very happy about going back and finishing my degree. But in 2006, my dad, who I wanted to be just like, would come back and give a basketball camp. So my idea was I was going to come back and give back to the community and go to what molded me and going back to the Boys and Girls Club and have a basketball camp for at-risk youth, giving scholarships to kids throughout Fayetteville, allowing them to get mentored by players like myself, different members of the Arkansas Razorbacks, and every once in a while I would have some of my former teammates that was playing in the NBA come down and visit. So I thought that was a great experience. It's something that you remember for life. I remember walking around Northwest Arkansas Mall every Sunday. I don't know if any of y'all are from Fayetteville, but they used to have a Luby's. So we used to go to church, and I would try to eat my food so fast because I wanted to be able to look out the window because I knew that somebody from the basketball team or the football team was going to walk around the mall at least 3 to 4 times before they left. So that stuck in my mind that, hey, I want to be just like these guys when I grow up. That's something that, to me, the mountaintop was being an Arkansas Razorback. I still think that's one of the mountaintops, but was able enough to be in the NBA, started the basketball camp, had former guys come down and mentor, and I knew that was going to stick with these young kids throughout their life. I then had an opportunity to meet with some board members at the Boys and Girls Club and some people throughout the community. Some different teachers were like, "Hey, this is a need that we have in our community. This is a need that we have at the Boys and Girls Club." So I ended up deciding to purchase and build a new basketball gym and a teen life center for at-risk youth, for teenagers. So that was something that was very, very important to me because I knew what the Boys and Girls Club molded me and how that had an effect on my life. In 2008, we technically started the Ronnie Brewer Foundation. 2006 is when we started the basketball camps. But with my foundation, I kind of thought small. And thinking small, at Arkansas, I wore number 10. When I got to the NBA, I had to wear number 9 because it was retired. It was retired at Utah. So I was like, hey, let's start a program where we're gonna, pass out 9 backpacks, and in the backpack fill as much supplies for 9 families. It didn't matter how many kids are in the family. We're gonna supply them 9 backpacks and 9 supplies for families. That program grew where now at the Boys and Girls Club, we give out school supply backpacks to anybody who needs them. We have given out as much as 1,000 backpacks. Thanks to Walmart, they've helped us out a lot. But able to give out backpacks and school supply. We were able to do to grow the foundation where we could get. I don't know about a lot of y'all, but I couldn't cook when my mom wanted us out the house, so couldn't cook that well. My sister, my mom could cook. So we thought during Christmas and Thanksgiving, you see a lot of people give out turkeys and different sides and different things like that. Well, if you can't cook, I don't know how a lot of y'all try to cook a turkey, but I tried to do it at the Boys and Girls Club, and it turned out horrendous. It was really, really bad. So then we came out with the idea that, okay, how about we get some people who know how to cook to come up and cook for people in the community who might not know how to cook, who can get meals during Christmas and Thanksgiving. We started doing a coat giveaway. So it started off small, finished strong. And, that's one of the things that if y'all could take one thing that for me is, I started off small as a small kid on Eaton Street in Fayetteville, Arkansas. With a little bit of push and a little bit of backing from teachers, administrators, and different people in my life, I was able to I thought I was able to make it big and to think big and to come up with a lot of different ideas to make a difference in the community. But the work is not over with. I think it's just beginning. And it's with these people in this room that we can come up with different ideas, come up with different initiatives to take something small, a small idea, and make it grow into something really, really big and be the change that you want to see. I always tell people there's a lot of mascots throughout the country. There's only one Razorback. I'm very, 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 very proud about that. I'm proud to say I'm a Fayetteville Bulldog. I appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate y'all letting me to speak and giving me this platform. So be the change you want to be, and thank you, and have a blessed day.
I couldn't help myself thinking about Ida Poland, who was one of the English teachers. And if y'all don't know Ida, she is maybe 5 feet tall, 4'11". And I'm just thinking about the impact that she was able to have. Our impact is never understood at the moment that we're having it. It never is understood. I can, What Ronnie reminded me of is the counselor in high school in Williambro, New Jersey, who said, "Honey, you need to go to college." And I hadn't thought about it. I was a 10th grader, and it was the first person who said, "You need to go to college. I'm going to make sure that you're in some courses so that you can be eligible to go to college." We never know our impact, and I'm just excited about the thread that is supporting us this morning and the themes that we have.